Hello everybody, welcome back to another game of Rory's Story Cube. So once again we're gonna do 3 stories based on 9 dice. And I hope I didn't deafen you just a moment there ago, because I noticed on the wave patterns that it was quite a spike there in the beginning. Okay, sorry about that. I'm gonna grab some 9 dice and I'm gonna see what we get so we can roll a story. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more. 9. There you go. Okay, I'm gonna put these guys away. We're gonna roll these. Let's take a look what we get. First 5. This is somebody who is trying to scare somebody off, I think, or they're afraid of something. This is a bottle of poison. It could be, or liquor, whichever it is. This is somebody stealing something by the looks of things. This looks like an acorn to me. Does it look like an acorn to you? And these are cuffs. Well, that's very appropriate, these two. Next 4. This is a walking cane. This looks like a bowl of rice steaming. This is somebody on the moon with a flag, or could be on the moon. And this looks like the guy who takes you to the other side of the river Styx. And once again, make sure to pause the video here so you can take a look at the 9 dice below and then come up with your own story. Make sure to post it rather than pause it. Don't pause your creativity, just post the story below, and then I'd like to read it. Anyway, I'm going to take a look what I can do with these. I just said that there were a few of them which already have their own themes. Let's see, now who shall we start with? Let's start with... this one. Nope, not that one, sorry, I meant this one. Let's start with this guy. This guy is a famous astronaut, or at least he was, many years ago. Now he's old. There he is. And he used to be famous, and a lot of people came to see him because he had been to the moon and he had seen lots of things, and everybody wanted to be him and be like him and be liked by him. So he had a lot of friends back in the day when he was younger and still in the astronaut program. Of course, as the years progressed, he got a little bit less popular, and so eventually people stopped coming to his house. He was like, what the hell, where is everybody gone? I'm going a little bit blind, I need some help, I'm getting older, you know, and where are all the people that used to know me back in the day? What's that all about? Why am I alone now? So he was sitting there in his house all by himself eating a bowl of rice because he couldn't cook much, but he did have a rice cooker, which was great, so he could at least have some of that. And he decided to clear the yard after he was done, and then it turned out that there was an ad in the newspaper for something very special. As a matter of fact, it was a very special bottle of youth serum, and it was sold by somebody who didn't want to be named. Of course, they had to call a certain number, which was fairly anonymous, but he was thinking, you know what, I'm old and I would like to be young again so I can go and do the things that I used to do and get all the friends that I used to have. So he decided to call this man, and it turned out that he needed to come to a specific place across the river. And he went there and he saw a boat, and this is him actually sitting in the boat. He went across the river to the location that was disclosed over the telephone, and the person he had on the line had one of those voice contorting things. I don't really know what to describe that. You know, they used to use those a lot in those shows in the 80s when somebody didn't want to be recognized. You know what I mean? That they sound really weird. Well, that's kind of what the person on the other side of the line sounded like. So he went to the other side of the river, having no idea who he was going to run into. And then when he went to the appropriate spot, somebody hit him over the head. And when he awoke a few seconds later, because he was kind of tough, he wasn't like completely out right away, he noticed somebody running away with his stuff. The last money that he had, he didn't have much, but he did have like enough for the potion. At least he thought he had enough for the potion. It cost about $1,000. But alas, he did not have a potion, nor did he have his money, because they ran off. But he went home, across the river once again, through here, and he had seen the guy running away, so he was like, okay, I know what this guy looks like. So he called the cops, and he was able to give a detailed description, and they got the guy and locked him up, put him in jail. Unfortunately, the money had already been spent, and he never got what he was promised, which of course wasn't possible anyway, because it was one of those things that just doesn't exist, unfortunately. And he had to go back to eating his bowl of rice. But he did actually get a few moments of glory once again, because people remembered, after they heard the story in the news about him being robbed, that he used to be a famous astronaut. So he had a few more years, or at least a few more months of people calling him for shows and all that sort of thing. So something good came off it after all. A little bit of his youth reclaimed. Okay, so that's the first 9. I'm going to put these aside. There you go. And then I'm going to grab the next 9 and we'll see what we get. Yeah, ta-da. I'm grabbing the dice. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Whoops, come over here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Once again, 8. And number 9 is right here. Let's roll these and see what we get. Oops, I'm gonna take them off screen for a second. There we go. First 5. There we go. This person is sleeping, apparently. And this is a flashlight. And this is somebody eating something with a lot of teeth. Here, this is somebody looking sad. This is a wheelchair. And we're gonna have 4 more dice to roll after that. This looks like a pill. I think like this would be better for you. Somebody going through a hatch of some sort. Oh, that looks like the lever that controls the hatch. And somebody who's laughing. Alright, so a lot of motions and actions in this one. Make sure to pause once again to take a look at these 9 dice. And to make sure to leave a story in the comments below. I will read it for sure, because I like to read your stories when they come in. Now let's see what I could do with these 9 dice. There was once, not once, but probably many people, a person who was considered to be slightly insane. I mean, there's no way about it. He used to do a lot of sleeping, but when he woke up he was really weird and hyper, and people weren't quite sure what to do with him. So they sent him off to this place where they took care of people like him, also known as a mental asylum. And they gave him some pills to keep him quiet. And he got a little bit docile as well, but he also got enormous, like, ravenous hunger from that. He would keep eating and eating until the staff of the said asylum was a little bit scared of him, because he was getting a little bit aggressive every time that the feeding would not be on time. So they decided to lock him up in the basement. They set him on top of this trapdoor over there, and then they're like, okay, here's a cookie or whatever, and then he ran over and he pulled the lever and he went down. There he went, unfortunately. But he did manage to find a flashlight. And he went looking around for lots of things, and he found lots of pills, as a matter of fact, lots of equipment as well. Nobody else there, so he's all by himself. And he took all the pills that he found, because he was like really looking forward to eating stuff. And eventually he got eaten so much of these pills that he went completely mad. He was crazy before. There you go, a little bit of and then and eventually he got a whole bunch of sleeping pills as well, and he slept for many, many years, because that's possible. He went into sort of a hibernating state, and the other drugs were still working on his system. So by the time he actually woke up, he was even worse, and it had been several tens of years, like 20 years. Meanwhile, the asylum had actually closed down because of lack of funding. And he managed to get out of the hatch because he found the lever on the other side. He went through like a door, I guess like this. There you go. Whee! Came out the door because there was a spring behind it. And he found that he was free because there was nobody there to leave him anymore, or at least to keep him there anymore. So he ran away to terrorize the world because he had become some type of strange superhuman with unusual mental powers. He didn't know that, because he just thought that he was thinking weird things and stuff just tended to happen because he was crazy, but all the stuff he was thinking about actually happened, and that was because of all the mental stimulants he had eaten. Of course, that's absolute nonsense. That doesn't happen in real life, so please don't try that at home. But in this case, in this strange parallel universe, it did, and he was the master of all. And it was their own doing, unfortunately for them. So that was our strange person who got superpowers from all the stuff that he was eating that he shouldn't have been. And that was story number 2. Real quick, not one. Alright, I'm going to put these guys aside as well. I'm going to grab the next line. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. There you go. Let's roll these guys and see what we get. I'm just gonna move these others aside because they're a little bit in the way. They're crowding the place over here. Here come the first 4. We have a crab. And we have somebody who doesn't like crabs, apparently. We have somebody... What is he doing? He's got a blindfold on and he's feeling this guy's face, and I don't know why. This looks like a speedometer of some sorts. Now, the next 5. Hoppa. This guy is in the Twilight Zone. No, that's not the Twilight Zone, is it? No, I do. That's more like it. Here's a wolf howling at the moon. Here's somebody walking. Here is Mount Olympus. And here is an egg. Oh, there we go. Once again, make sure to pause the video and come up with a story of your own. Post it in the comments below. Make sure it's a good one, because I'd like to read good ones. The bad ones you can keep to yourself. Now let's take a look what I have here. I have a lot of stuff going on, actually. Let's just go take a look what we can make out of this. Somewhere in Mount Olympus, there we go, there was a minor god of the minor pantheon who didn't really have much powers, other than the fact that he was blind, which meant that he could feel everything very well. Like, he was very sensitive. He knew the difference between an egg and a crab, for instance. That's not very difficult, I suppose, but if you take the paws off and then try to feel whether it's an egg or a crab, sometimes you can be a little bit mistaken, particularly if it's an ostrich egg, which is bigger than a regular chicken egg, which takes the difference out. Okay, so he's really good at feeling stuff up, okay? Don't think too much about that. But he wanted more powers. He wasn't very happy being just the guy who didn't see anything, appropriate facial expression as well, and was able to discern things by feeling them. He also had very good hearing. He could hear the wolves for many miles around. And occasionally he'd hear one of those guys who likes to fix up his car and then like rev it, but he was like 20 miles away, so it was a very loud engine. He could hear that one as well. But he went up to Zeus and he's like, hey Zeus, I know it's been a while since we gods ruled the world, but could you please give me some extra powers, because all this touchy-feely stuff, I'm not really into that. But maybe you can give me something else. And Zeus was like, yeah, it has been a while since we've done something cool around here. Why don't I give you the power to control birds? Well, he says, I guess that's okay. I'm just gonna go over there and experiment in the forest. I'll see you later. Thanks, Zeus. So he goes to the forest and he walks around a little bit, and here's some wolves in the background once again, of course, because they are there as well. And he doesn't really know how this new power works, but soon enough he hears a crackling up in the trees, because he can't see anything, but he's very sensitive hearing. And a bird pops out, and he tries to talk to it. And the bird doesn't understand it because it's way too small, but his parents do understand him, and they decide to donate the little baby bird to our god friend here. And it became his #1 companion. It was a sparrow, but still, it was cool to have a sparrow. It's kind of like, what's her name again? Snow White, who has all the birds singing along with her. But a little bit like that, only less Disney and more what you would expect it to really look like in real life. A bird sitting on the shoulder and occasionally pooping and chirping at you, and sometimes they're useful, but mostly they're not. But at least you have a companion. So he spent the rest of his days talking to birds and having them as friends. Birds don't live for very long, so he had a lot of bird friends before it was once again his time to return to Mount Olympus and become one with the god energies that were there. If that is how they die, I don't even know. Not really sure if gods die. If they do, I think they just kind of fade away. So I guess that's what happened to him, sadly. Okay, so that was our god friend who had the power to feel stuff up and talk to birds. That was the last story for today. I hope you enjoyed all of these. You can put all the dice over here. You can see all the players that we had. Oops, he almost dropped a bunch. Here we go. There they are. All of them. Yay! It's kind of like when you do a play and everybody gets to come back on stage for a while. Except people lost. This was not what we had. What do we have in this one? This one, the king. Yes, very good. The poison, the lever, the sleeping person, the guy in the moon. Make sure to keep applauding. There's this guy with the stuff he stole, both rice, drugs. I don't know if you want to applaud drugs. Here's the wheelchair, this thing eating, yep, sad face, happy person, insane person. That's all of them. There you go. Yay. Okay, fine. Well, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave your comments and your stories below. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching once again, and bye-bye for now.